Welcome to the Essential SEND and Inclusion channel. In this recording, I'm going to talk about how to use the 7Cs Learning Portfolio and the Progress Tracker. In a previous recording, I talked about the 7Cs Learning Portfolio, which is a language of assessment. It contains 7 learning concepts that begin with the letter C, and they include cognition, communication, creativity, control, compassion and coordination, as well as the curriculum, which is at the centre. And within each of the 7 learning concepts, there are an additional 7 learning attributes. And in effect, that means that teachers, TAs, learners and their families have a language of 49 learning attributes in which to identify strengths and areas for development or barriers to learning. Now, in real terms, we're not expecting every child, young person, family member to learn the 49 learning attributes. Instead, we're actually just going to use it to map the comments that they give us. So when you have a meeting with a child and you're identifying strengths, you would talk to them as you would in any scenario, asking what they're good at. If they then say to you, oh, they're really good at Lego, or they're good at junk modelling, then you might ask them to tell you about the model that they have made, why they like it. And at some point in the conversation, you could say to them, now in my little book, that comes under creativity and making things. And you would perhaps identify that as a strength. Similarly, with areas for development, you might talk about that the child perhaps finds it hard to remember instructions. So they listen really well, but they can't remember everything by the time they get back to their table to begin work. So you'd perhaps say that in my little book, that comes under cognition and working memory. Now, the advantage of mapping what the child or young person has said as their strengths or areas for development against the language of the 7Cs is that it opens up your access to the additional resources. In particular, the 7Cs Progress Tracker. So in SEND assessment, on page 93 to 109, we have the progress tracker. So you can see on this PowerPoint slide that the progress tracker contains, it's a rating scale for teaching assessment. So we have numbers 1 to 10. So emerging would be rating scales 1 to 3, evolving would be numbers 4 to 6, effective are numbers 7 to 9, and enhanced is 10, and exceptional would be 10 plus. Now, it's really important to recognise that this is a strengths-based approach, and that's why we've included enhanced and exceptional. They're not included, that's not what we're striving for. We are striving for effective, because in reality, it's unrealistic to assume that any learner, adult or child, is going to be exceptional on all 49 attributes. Okay, but we are looking to find their starting point. So you could look and use the progress tracker, for example, if you were thinking about working memory as an area for development and you want to capture their starting point, you can use the descriptors in the book to actually find a best fit. So in emerging 1 to 3 on working memory, it says small capacity, so difficulties holding or retaining 1 or 2 pieces of information, finds remembering instructions tricky and following requests. So in agreement with the learner themselves, their family, then the teacher can agree that perhaps they're going to be emerging 2, and that is their starting point. It will enable the tracking and capturing of progress as we work and support the learner with that skill. So the progress tracker can be useful to help you capture the starting point and to help review progress. And remember, all 49 attributes are included in that scale. Please also note that there are no red ratings. Okay, we start with emerging, which is blue. Evolving moves on to yellow, and blue and yellow together make green, which is effective. Then we have our lime green, which is enhanced, and then we have purple, which is exceptional. And again, just to stress that the exceptional was put in there to ensure that all of our learners have an opportunity to recognise that their skills, their strengths might be a 7, 8, 9 or even a 10, as well as their areas for development being a 2, 3 or 4. So let's bring balance to our assessment for all of our learners. If you want to find out more, please do have a look in SEND assessment, and you can find the progress tracker on pages 93 to 109. Thank you.